Hey everybody! Thank you so much for your suggestions on Instagram on the different vlog topics that you'd like to see. I've really struggled to think of things to talk about. You'd think it would come natural with having a healthy living blog and doing recipes and the weight loss journey, but it's actually quite hard for me to do videos and think of what to put, so thank you very much for your help. Today I'm going to talk about the struggles and victories I've had with my weight loss journey. As I'm sure a lot of you know, I used Cambridge Weight Plan from July of last year till December of last year to lose nearly 5 stone. It wasn't easy, but at the same time I didn't cheat and I never fell off the wagon. I did have a few off-plan meals and a night out, but I didn't come off plan completely. And I don't want you to think that because I stuck to plan religiously and followed it to the T that I didn't struggle. I struggled daily, and there were some instances where it was really hard for me and I nearly caved in. I remember the first time I struggled was in my second week. I was at work, and I know a lot of people find with a very low calorie diet that about the 4th day is the worst day, and once you can get past that 4th day, it's smooth sailing. For me, it was my second week. The whole second week was the worst. And there was one day I went in and I woke up hungry. And from the moment I woke up until the moment I went to bed that day, I was just hangry all day. And I remember sitting at my desk, and we have a policy at my work that we can't eat at our desk. But I could get away with it because technically what I was eating wasn't food. So I would purposefully stay out of our canteen area, and I would sit at my desk and have my shakes. And on this particular day, it was somebody's birthday and they brought in samosas, and I love samosas, and I hadn't had samosa in well over a year, and it took every bit of my willpower to not go eat a samosa. And I remember one of my coworkers telling me, "Oh, share it with me, half a samosa won't do you any harm, you can have one bite." And I just thought, no, I didn't just slave away for a week on shakes to not follow it and have a samosa. And I got mad. I got really mad, and I think I bit a few people's head off that day out of anger that I couldn't eat a samosa. But I stuck to it, and I drank my water. I think I drank nearly 4 liters that day, just to try to keep the hunger at bay and to keep the temptation away as well. But yeah, that really pushed me on for the next few weeks to stick to it. Let's see, what else did I struggle with? I struggled at night, especially when we watched TV. Typically we'd snack on chocolates and biscuits and things like that, which I'm sure most of you do. So what I tend to do is my last product, I would move it to quite late at night, right before I went to bed, and I would always have something chocolate or sweet. My favourite one was the chocolate shake mixed with yogurt. If you haven't done that, do it. It is so good. I also struggled with my weight loss in general, the numbers I was getting on the scale. Now, when a lot of people do very low calorie diets, they get a really big loss the first week. And my first week I lost 4 pounds. And I remember my consultant saying, "Oh, have you stuck to plan, or is there anything preventing it?" Well, no, I had my products, I drank my water, I did everything I was supposed to do. That was it. We kind of put it down to the fact that I have PCOS, and I was also coming off of the depot shot. Whether that was true or not, I don't know, but I never lost more than 4 pounds my entire journey. But here I am, and I'm significantly lighter than I was, so any of you getting what you consider small losses, don't be discouraged. It all adds up, and you're still losing weight. I don't care if you're losing half a pound or you're losing 10 pounds. Be proud of what you lose and be happy with it. Promise me, you'll get there. My first off-plan meal I had was for my anniversary, and that was on the 30th of October last year. And I know some people, when they're going to have something off-plan, they come off-plan for the whole day, and I thought, I'm not going to do that because there's no reason for it. So at this point I was on step 2, and I thought to myself, I'll still have my shakes and my bars and I'll continue on, but instead of a typical step 2 meal, I will just have my meal at the restaurant that we went to. And we went to a seafood restaurant, so thankfully choices were fairly decent. My consultant did try to sway me to get some kind of prawn or cod or something instead, but I wanted lobster, so I had lobster. And I cheekily had some bread as well, which I probably shouldn't have, but in the long run it didn't hurt and I didn't gain that week, which was great. But I think it helped not coming off plan completely. And it was hard the next day because I had that taste of proper food, and all I really wanted from that point was bread. I really wanted bread, and I kicked myself for a few days for eating the bread meal because I know that's why I wanted it. But yeah, I think because I stuck to plan the whole day, it made the experience easier rather than coming off plan completely for a day and then trying to get back on it again. It wasn't so hard to get back on the wagon. So my advice to you is, if any of you need to come off your plan, whatever plan it is, don't do it completely if you can avoid it. Do it for whatever meal you're going out for or your drinks, but other than that, there's no reason you can't stick to plan. So if you're going out for breakfast, fine, go have your breakfast as you would, then come home and stick to your plan. Same with any other meal. The other time that I came off plan was my first week of step 3. So I was out of ketosis, which they advise if you drink on a very low calorie diet that you come out of ketosis so you're not sick. And I was out of ketosis for a few days, and I went out for my consultant's birthday, and it didn't go well. I made sure I ate more than normal that day. I had more carbs that day as well, and I was still sick as a dog, and that spurred me on for the whole rest of my journey to not come off plan and to not cheat, because that feeling was awful. It wasn't worth it at all for me. I know that there's been a few posts on Instagram lately about drinking while being on a very low calorie diet. My advice to you, don't. I know some people can drink and they're fine. From my experience, and that's the only thing I can go off of, it wasn't worth it. It was terrible. I was miserable the whole night. One drink went straight to my head, and I had never in my life been sick while drinking, and I spent a good few hours of my night in the toilet being sick. And whether you come off plan and you have carbs and you're out of ketosis or not, I don't think it's worth the risk. You can still go out and have a great time, just stick to water, or worst case scenario, drink Diet Coke or something. But that will take me up to the end of my journey. That was the last time I came off plan at all. And I was quite excited because my last week of Cambridge was the beginning of December, which meant that I would be off any kind of plan for my birthday and Christmas, and I was really happy at that. And when I started my journey, I was 13 stone 10 pound. I'm 5'2", and I was a size 20, 18 depending on the clothes. And when I came off plan, I was 9 stone 7 pound and a size 12, so I was significantly smaller. At that point, I didn't think I would ever be the size I was or the weight I was, so I was happy with where I was at. So I didn't plan on losing any more weight. I mean, lo and behold, I have. And again, I'm happy with where I'm at. I don't want to lose much more, because I think if I do lose any more weight, I'll start to look a bit sickly. But when I came off plan, my game plan was to use MyFitnessPal and track my calories to make sure that I didn't go over anything, and I could also monitor my macros to make sure I wasn't having more carbs than anything else, or having way more fat than anything else, or having way too much protein as well. So I used that for a few weeks, and it was fantastic, and I ended up losing I think it was about another 5 or 6 pounds, and I was down at Christmas time at 9 stone 1. And I sat at 9 stone 1 for quite some time, and on my birthday I was fine. I stuck to my calorie limits. I didn't have anything naughty other than birthday cake, which I had a very small slice of. But then from Christmas Day up into New Year's, I ate everything. I think I ate literally half a cheese board to myself, including pate and crackers. It wasn't the best. There was also lots of chocolate and decadent food, obviously Christmas dinner. But even then, I think I only gained 3 pounds because I was still conscious of drinking all my water, which I still, to this day, try to drink 2 litres a day. I'm not the best at it, I'll admit, but I do try to. But once I got back to my healthy eating, all that weight dropped back off again. And I think because I knew that I could do it, I didn't struggle to get back on, and that was really empowering for me, because that was the first time that I felt, I can do this, I can keep the weight off. Because there's big rumours around that when you use any kind of weight plan, whether it's Weight Watchers, Slimming World, Cambridge, Exante, anything like that, people say you're going to gain the weight back, because when you go back to normal foods, the weight's going to pile back on. And it's not true. It's not true at all. I think with Cambridge, I can't speak for anything else because I haven't used any of the diet plan from start to finish, but with Cambridge, if you follow each step exactly as it states and how it's laid out, and you follow each one and you don't skip any, and you don't try to adjust it to fit your lifestyle or anything, and if you follow it from step 1 to step 5, you'll be fine. And it's self-control. All of it is self-control. Even now for me, since I've been maintaining for 4 or 5 months, I'm not good at math, it's still self-control. And there's still days I pick up food and I'll look at it and I'll be holding it and just go, I don't want that, and I'll put it back down. There was one time when I was on plan, I don't know what step it was, how far along I was, but previously I was notorious for finishing my daughter's food, so if she didn't eat it, I'd go, well, that's a waste, I can't just put that in the bin, and I would eat it. And she, I think it must have been toast or something, and she left quite a bit of it, and I remember I put it in my mouth and I thought, what am I doing? And I spat it back out. Thankfully didn't eat it, but yeah, I went a bit off course there. So yeah, self-control. But I've kept the weight off, and I've actually lost a bit more, and I now sit at 8 stone 13. My weight fluctuates, depending on, time of the month, or, if I happen to go out for a few nice meals or something, but in general, it's 8 stone 13. But it's still a struggle for me, and I still have really bad days. Today, for instance, I slept until 9:30, I had a cup of tea, and then went out shopping, and I had lunch with my daughter, so I didn't have breakfast. I didn't eat until 12 o'clock, and I got food that I know that she would share with me, so I had macaroni and cheese. Not the best option. And also shared a donut. Not the best option. But with that said, I know that even though I had that, because I didn't eat much of it, so I ate maybe half the mac and cheese and only had a third of the donut, it's not as bad as it could have been. So it swings and roundabouts, and it's compromise. So if you know you're going to have something bad that you shouldn't be eating, you level it out. Either you don't eat as much of it, or the following day you try to eat a bit better. But as far as now, when my weight loss, I don't calorie count. I had an instance in January where I was very hungry at work, and I was working overtime, and I was pushing my 10 hours, and when I left I was absolutely ravenous, and I had been trying to drink water all day to fight it off, and it wasn't working. And any logical person will tell you that if you feel hungry, you drink water, and then you're still hungry, you are hungry, and it's not thirst. So my husband is on his way to pick me up, and I went to Sainsbury's, and I cried in an aisle because everything I picked up put me over my calorie limit, and that was a signal to me that I was starting to act in an unhealthy way towards food, and that was the last thing I wanted, was to develop any kind of fear or restriction around food, because I know how difficult and scary that can be from my teenage years, and I had issues with food, and I had restrictions, and I had safe foods and non-safe foods, and I didn't want to go there again. So I decided from that point I was going to stop calorie counting. And the nice thing is I had 2 months of calorie counting under my belt, so I knew roughly how many calories were in the normal foods I ate, and it's helped, and it's worked for me so far. So for now 2.5 months, I've now not calorie counted, and I haven't gained. So it's obviously working. It's just choosing healthy decisions. So carb wise, if I have carbs, you have your typical bad carbs, and you have your good carbs. And for me, if I'm going to have mash, I'll use sweet potato, or if I'm going to have chips, I'll use sweet potato. If I'm going to have any kind of pasta, it's wholemeal pasta, and I will have a small portion of it. So usually around 30-40 grams, where I believe a normal portion size is about 70-75, I think. Rice as well, I have basmati rice. One thing I've recently started doing is I've shied away from fat-free and low-fat. And I've done that because on a bit of research, I found that fat-free things, so yogurts for instance, if you were to look at the nutritional values of things, mainly the sugar, you'll find that versus a full-fat yogurt, so say you have a vanilla full-fat yogurt and a fat-free vanilla yogurt, if you were to look at them, yeah, sure, one will be fat-free, but it's going to have a lot more sugar than the full-fat version. And I know there's stigma around saturated fats, and that was done in the 50s from a very faulty report that said that saturated fats were bad for you, and they're not really. The report actually got thrown out, and it's unfortunately the backlash of it is stuck, and that's where you get a lot of the fat-free and low-fat foods from. But your body needs fat, and fat is good for you. It's just making sure that you get fat in the right ways. So obviously not from eating lots of chocolates and sweets, but avocado, certain oils, eggs, things like that, where previously you'd look at it and go, that has a lot of fat, I shouldn't have it, I'll have the egg whites instead, or I'm only gonna have a little bit of avocado because there's lots of fat. And no, you eat that avocado, you eat the whole avocado, because those fats are good, you need those fats. So when you see in my recipes, if I use Greek yogurt, things like that, I use full fat Greek yogurt. The only time I tend to use any kind of reduced fat anything is cheese, because I really, really like cheese. And I know that I get enough fats from everything else that if I have full fat cheese as well, it's going to kind of top me over a bit. Again, compromise, balance. Such as my dinner last night when I had a big bowl full of veggie courgette spaghetti and a massive beer. Balance. But yeah, so that's where I'm at now, and I know that a lot of people say that I'm an inspiration to them. They not look up to me, but they look at my journey, and it spurs them on because they've seen how well that I've done. And I know that might come off vain and a bit cocky. I don't want it to, and that's not my intention. But I am proud of what I've accomplished and how far I've come, and I'm proud of the body that I have, and I've never been able to say that before. So I suppose if that makes me vain and cocky, then no, that's fine, but I think I deserve to be proud of me. But none of this is done for any kind of self-promotion or self-praise. I do all this for you, and to help you on your journeys, to inspire you to be a bit healthier, to eat healthier, and to love yourselves regardless. And I hope that this helps. If there's anything else that you'd like to hear me vlog about, if there's some kind of demonstration, if you want me to do any kind of workouts, any more recipes you'd like me to do, just go down into the comments, let me know. I read every comment, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, or on my blog. Let me know, because I'd love to hear from it, and I will talk to you later.